Hi everyone, my name's Tom. In this video I'm going to break down my experience and some settings and tips that I've used in this game going from rank 0 to currently 100 and what I've learned and things that may well help you that the game doesn't necessarily tell you. So I'm going to try and break them down as best I can in this game because there's a lot of features, there's a lot of in-depth items and just little things you can do in the game that generally Rockstar may tell you, but it will tell you like once, and that's very quickly at the beginning. And if you're like me and you didn't play the story, but you want to get into the online, then I'm going to break down what I've learned, because some of these things I didn't learn until I was quite far into the game, and I'd wish I'd known them sooner. So I figured I'd do this little video to help some people out. I'm just going to be talking about basics of the game, some things you may already know, but hopefully there's something in here you enjoy and you find out. So if you do, please give the video a like and subscribe for more content from me. So without further ado, I'm going to go straight into my settings and what I use. We'll go to graphics first. So the graphics is going to be subjective to whatever your computer can do. This is a very intensive game, but I will say this is very much worth. I get about 30 frames at worst, and I get 60 sometimes. It really depends on the weather dynamic in the game, but I have my settings for the most part on ultra. The few settings I've got different, we've got lighting quality on medium. That works very well. The lighting's still absolutely stunning in this game. Most quality settings here we got on high. SSAO is on ultra. We've got reflection quality is on low. Mirror quality is on ultra. Water quality is on high. And then volumetrics, particle and tensillation quality, if I've got that right, is on ultra as well. And then we've got TAA is on medium and everything else is off. And I found this, I've played with these quite a bit at the beginning. As I said, frame rate doesn't so much bother me. I'm on a 60 Hz 1080p monitor. And I'm playing with a controller, and so for me, I don't notice any lag or drop in frames. It feels like a really nice, smooth experience, and visually it is stunning. So I don't want to, you know, I'm not going to turn things down to get higher frames. So if you've done that and you can probably go higher frame, if you can go higher like quality, try these settings if you haven't. See what you think. I've played most of the game like this, and I really enjoyed it. Visually, it looks amazing. Now we'll go to the camera settings, because this is something I didn't change again until quite far in the game. The default field of view isn't bad, but I've come in here and maxed it out, and I believe the camera is on high there. Now I don't know if that's on default, it might be on normal, I'm not too sure. But basically this is what I've got in here. So if anything isn't on default, I know the field of view isn't on default, that's for sure. Everything else is kind of down to you. Audio and everything else, there's nothing really much more to say there. While we're in this menu, this is the start menu, and there's actually a lot of quick options here. And again, when you sort of first play, all these sort of menus kind of a bit overwhelm you really. I would recommend when you're new, it's got a star next to it here, go into benefits, and this is some advertisement for whatever's going on this week usually, but in the middle here we've got these like tokens. If you click on that, offers and rewards, it will show you in here. So even I've been giving something today, which is amazing. I didn't know that. I don't need the XP, ironically, but Rockstar give you free things. So when you're beginning, it gave me like a free hat, free costume ideas, free guns, free ammo. Certain items were discounted, whether it be a horse or whether it be a wagon. So if you haven't and you're new, please go and look in here. You'll find you've probably got a lot of stuff you can get for free. Some stuff you can claim right here and here, so I can just claim this 2,000 free XP. I will do that now for you. Just hold A. There you go, just a little nice chime, and boom, you got it. I had free money in there when I started out, and all that helped me out a lot when I was getting started in the game. So next one is on progress. I guess what does help do? I don't really know what help. I've never been on this. All right. Well, I guess there you go. I've never pressed that, so I guess that tells you more about the game. Progress just tells you about your roles. There's different roles in the game, but to be honest, the only thing I'll say about that, because at the beginning you won't be able to afford any of these. You have to pay for gold for these, and I've never paid for gold as a premium currency. But you can earn it in the game by doing missions in the game. I never paid any more for the gold from Rockstar. I just earned it in game what I've earned, and it's nice progression. I feel the progression in this game has been nice and steady, hasn't felt grindy, hasn't felt like it's impossible or anything like that. It feels like we've ranked up at a really nice pace, and you unlock the items. I feel like at a really good pace that feels like you're progressing in the world, and it makes you steadily become more powerful, stronger, quicker, as you learn the map and the game and how it works. And this game is very in-depth, as I said. So what I would recommend is what I did, is I'd get the Bounty Hunter first, and then I'd look at getting the Trader role. The Bounty Hunter is very good for getting gold, not so good for getting money, and it's good fun. And the Trader role is mainly hunting, and so it's good for just getting money back, and you can get a lot of money back in the Trader. From there, you can choose whichever you want to do. I've finally just chosen Moonshiner and Collector, but I've only recently got those. There is currently an XP boost on for the Bounty Hunter role, and that's actually ranked me up about 10 ranks of the Bounty Hunter role very quickly, whereas the beginning of the Bounty Hunter role, it's actually taken a quite slow and steady approach. The Trader is the same story. About a week or so ago, Rockstar had like a double XP week on, and I was going very slow and steady with that, and then very quickly on that week, just playing as I normally do, we ranked up the Trader almost too quickly, I would say. But it's okay. That's, I guess, how they want people to rank up quicker, so that's okay. One thing I've noticed in the game that I didn't learn for a long time is you've got the next one here is awards. So they look actually very similar. I'll go back here. We've got roles and awards. Go to awards. And again, we've got basically all the roles here because you get awards for doing whatever you do in the roles. But as well, we've got just general awards you will get in the game for like hunting. And I will go use the sharpshooter as an example here. So what you'll get is, for example, it says here, kill enemies with a revolver, and it will mark it all the way until it says 1,000 out of 1,000 killed, buckle award, and you'll get a buckle to show off you've done this, and I've owned quite a few of these in the game. But what I didn't know for a long time is at the bottom there it says reset award. So when you've completed this, when you've got your 1,000 kills and it gives you the little gold symbol that you've unlocked a reward, go and check them out, because particularly if you've played the game for a little while and you don't even know about this, they give you gold. If you reset the award, it doesn't give you the buckle, doesn't really do much else other than it will give you 0.4 gold, and you get to just play it again, and that will rack up. So it says 2 there. I've already done that twice, and we've already done this one down here twice as well, which is what's that, headshot with a revolver. And there you go. And it also says we've got 589, so it actually tells us how far away we are on the kills there. So that would roughly say we've got 2,500 kills with my revolver, which is all the Cattleman. And that's one of my favourite guns, or mainly the Cattleman, bit of Navy in there, but we'll gloss over. I'll go into the guns a little bit later on. That's all I have to say about that. I basically didn't know that for a while. I basically, when I first did that, I found out I actually ended up having like about 10 gold back from that, maybe more, so that was quite good. But yeah, I didn't know that for a while, so this is again something that the game didn't really tell you. It wasn't very clear. The next one down here is ability cards, and there's a few ways of doing this, but the one way I've done this is basically I would recommend checking out PvP Only Cat, or Only PvP Cat, bless him, I can't remember his name. He's a really good channel, covers Red Dead Online. No doubt if you type in Red Dead Online ability cards into YouTube, his videos will come up. He's very good at describing what the best cards are and their strengths and weaknesses, and he's tested them. But all I will say here is I like Paint It Black on the Deadeye. The Deadeye card is the main one to focus on, but the ones that are very strong online, Slow and Steady, Paint It Black, and Slippery Bastard. I'm not sure if you can get all of them at the beginning, but if you can, see which one feels the best to you. I go with Paint It Black because it feels like traditional Red Dead, but as I said, I'm not going to go into those. You have to check out some other YouTubers for those, because they're very complicated, and I've only really just figured them out. The next one down here is we've got player, and it will actually show you a player, the actual photograph you're stuck with. So if you're not actually happy with your player, I believe it says delete character, but I think that will actually ruin everything for you. I think the best option for you to do is actually I've got a free token to change my appearance. So if you want to change sex and things, even that, I think you can do that in the game. You can change how she looks. But I'll be perfectly honest with my character. She was about the 4th randomly generated character in the game I had, and then I just edited her face a bit. With the makeup and things and that, but I generally like the profile that the game gave me, so maybe that's something to try. Just give the randomization a go and see if you get lucky like I did, because yeah, I looked at her straight and I was like, oh yeah, she'll do, she's cool. So basically this tells you a little bit of stats about your character in here. It tells you if you're underweight, your temperature, your rank you're currently at, and your XP off away from your next rank up, and your honor and your hostility. My honor and hostility haven't really changed much, but the only good thing this is for is to see your weight. And I'll tell you how to control your weight and things in the game. Generally, I used to eat a lot of big game and things at the beginning of the game and lots of canned meat and things like that. But the best option actually is I use apples, carrots, and sort of venison steaks or beef steaks. Well, a smaller game is better to do. And the same for in here, you get your horse stats, so it tells you if your horse is fit or unwell. Or like usually it says like if they've been in the stable a while, it'll say they're malnourished. But it also says if they're happy or upset or whatever, so it says clean and calm, but it will tell you if they're irritated or if they're dirty and they need a clean. So, and I'll go into a bit of description how to do that as well, because I've seen a lot of new players not actually, I think, almost know that you have to look after the horse if you want to be able to ride further, and you won't really get the best stamina on a horse until you get a specific certain saddle. But the saddles are what make the difference. The starting horses are pretty much as good as the finishing horses, give or take. It's just dependent on what saddle you choose, really. Again, I'd recommend other videos to go and looking at that, to be honest. I'm not going to break down the saddles too much in this, but I will basically just say that what I just said there is the saddles make the big difference, and I'll show you the saddle I've got if I remember. So, next one down here is online. This is something I've only just started using. Here you can actually fast travel. I didn't even really think about it. So if you want to go to the other side of the map here, I haven't used this personally, but I think it will randomly go and drop you into a certain region on the map down here. And the same reason with the top here, you can quickly spawn to your camp, and you can quickly go and randomly matchmake into another posse. And that's something I only just started doing at about 250, 300 hours into the game, and that's been a lot of fun. But for the beginning of this game, I've done it solo, and I've just taken in the experience and just enjoyed the game slowly at my own pace, and it's been really, really enjoyable. Right, everything else there's kind of done, really. So I guess quickly what we will talk about is I'll go through, say, this side menu here, and I'll also go through my satchel, we'll go through the catalogue, we'll go through this wheel, and I'll talk briefly about, see, with the bottom corner here we've got my cores, got my heart, lightning bolt, and deadeye core. I'll try and describe all of that in the following. So if you're still with me, thank you very much. If you're new, please subscribe, it helps my channel grow, and I'll crack on with it. So let's start with this side menu. It's the second time I've done this video, but I'm hoping this is a better take on it. So basically, we've got at the top here, we've got players. And we've got the players nearby on our server. You will find actually sometimes you will change server. But you can see the rank of other players in there. And the other thing is, if you're getting attacked by people, they will appear red on here. And so you can quickly go and see their level. So we've got a 434 player here. It's really high up. And we can see his ability cards and what he's using. Now, people that play this game often and know what they're doing will change the ability cards, and some people even try and counter your ability cards. I've had that before. But one of the big deal breakers to the ability cards is tonics in the game, and they're kind of like, I guess, potions. And again, I'll go into those in a bit of detail when we get into the satchel, but this is just something good here that we can go, and if you've got an opponent in the game, you can go and see people's cards. So he's a level 30, and he's just getting his third card, but he hasn't actually chosen one yet. And that was kind of what I was like at the beginning. You don't really care about the cards. They're expensive. You don't probably come across enough players online to really care about them, and you're just enjoying it. And I'll be perfectly honest, normal bullets with a cattleman starting out will still a headshot will still kill like a top level player. It depends if they've got maybe one or two ability cards they're using, but on the whole, there's nothing stopping a level 1 player shooting a higher level player other than the skill gap, really. Your guns you've given and everything are still very capable of taking out some of the higher level players. It's just a matter of knowing, just, tactics, cover, using the cover system, and just being accurate, I guess. So that's basically that. We can basically also see here our friends we've made, and if anyone's playing. It's not so clear who's online and who's offline, annoyingly. I think we've got a few people online today, which is nice. Made a few friends this last week doing POSSE, and it's been really good fun. So got quite a list of people I can call here, and I've even I think I've even still got some friend request to accept. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. Okay, pinned. Yeah, so basically I think you can pin missions, maybe awards. So if you're really going for that, say, gold revolver headshot award or whatever, you can pin that, as well as there's other things like daily challenges, which I don't really pay attention to. But a few of the players I do pay attention to these because you get rewarded with gold. And it's just a little bit, but it is kind of worthwhile if you want to do some of these. And most of these I do by accident, really, more than anything. I don't intentionally go out and do these. The log, I don't know what log is. Tasks, I guess that's think. Run away from Crips because he's just going to bang on. So daily challenges are there, and then we got Posse. And so something this is quite good with the posses, you can actually see other posses that are on the server, and some of them might be open so you can go and join them. Gremlin Gang is one of my friends, same with Panthers is another one of my friends, and Big Iron is one of mine that I'm just trying to get started. We've rocked with it a few times, but then if you don't want to do a persistent one, what you can do is, it says form a posse and press X. So if we do that, you can either choose temporary or persistent. Now, temporary, it will help you, particularly if it's left on open. You can invite just people only, that's fine, but you can have it open, and what will happen is the game will matchmake players into the game for you, and you'll find that basically if they're looking as well, so in that online menu I showed you earlier where it says posse up, if you want people to come and help you, you want people to go and play with, I mean, if you're low level, I'd recommend using the matchmaking system rather than starting a posse yourself, because someone higher level like myself or other players, we can take you on roles like bounty hunting, and we probably know a bit more about the game, and we could do some story missions or even some bounty hunting legendary missions, and, you know, really help you out with probably some bigger cash than you would otherwise get. So these are always good fun, but yeah, basically come in here, press it open, friendly fire, always keep that off, and you can choose where to have your camp, and you can make it big or small, and all you have to do is then press form posse, and the game will kind of do the rest for you. So that's kind of the posses in this menu. Camp and properties. Now this is something I didn't know for the longest time in this game, is that you can move your camp. Now my camp, I was left down in Tumbleweed for the beginning of the game, for probably until a rank 50, because I didn't know you could move it. It was just really annoying that Crips was always at the bottom of the map for me. I was doing like the bounty hunter role, and I was always around the map, and the fact that Crips was at the bottom of the map for me was always really annoying, and I basically never went to it. I saw it as a pointless feature. But I didn't realise. I saw other players had their camps around, and I just assumed it wasn't something I'd unlocked yet. I didn't realise, basically, you come in here, and you go size and location, you press small camp, and then basically, for the cost of $2, you can move your camp all the way around the map. Now, depending, it will always be in a random place. I always like the Heartlands. It's one of my favourite areas in the game, to be honest. And Crips will generally choose multiple different camps in that region. So generally, every time I spawn in, we're in a different campsite. But it's not a bad thing. Keeps it different. Keeps the hunting different as well. There's always something different going on, which is good. Sometimes you'll find we will be camped next to a road, and if you're not careful, players will come and just start like trying to shoot you and things. But that's kind of rare. And quickly talking about the griefing in the game, because reviews of this game talks about hackers and griefers. The beginning when I played in February, there were a lot of hackers. I will be honest, now, the last month or two, I haven't noticed any hackers. It's really gone downhill in the terms of hacking. We've had actually two hackers turned up on stream, and you'll find actually more often than not, at least on PC, the players will just report them straight away, and I think Rockstar is quite hot on dealing with the hackers now. They just get banned almost immediately. Players are also quite hot and also recording, screen capturing these hackers on screen, and as I said, they don't last long. The community's pretty keen on shutting these people down, and at least from what I've found in the EU servers over here, it's generally been a really nice community and experience. Everyone's really friendly. Some people might kind of lasso you and tie you up, and I'll be honest, not to be rude here, there is definitely some gringos on here in line, which is actually awesome to see, because Red Dead Online and the first game on the PS3, that was full of gringos, just people harassing you and things, and just going hell on earth with the Spanish on down the microphone, and it was good fun. It really adds a sort of depth to the atmosphere of the game that this is the Wild West, and I think it's a sort of beautiful idea that Rockstar has given this sort of tribute to this era in its own sort of, I guess it's almost, this map's almost got like every single state in America, not that I know America well, I've never been, almost in like one little area, so it's got a little bit of everything. It's really quite nice to experience this sort of game. And that's kind of it for the camp stables. So something you'll find is that horse might get a bit mixed up, and you'll have a scrawny nag. I think you'll always have a scrawny nag. If you've got no horses, I think the game at the beginning will give you a scrawny nag, but your starter horse is generally pretty good. I had my starter horse for a long time. I just focused on getting better saddle later on because the saddles are very expensive. But anyway, what we can do here is you can see our own horses, and if, for example, if your horse is glitched and you need to choose another horse, I don't know if you can choose the scrawny naggin here, but you can come in here and set another as default and then whistle for it, pressing up on the D-pad, at least for me, and you'll spawn in that other horse, because sometimes I've had it where Winnie will get caught in like the other side of the map, hasn't respawned in, and I'll have to come in here and press Coco. I have to press Winston or Coco, and it will spawn in one of those horses instead. And in critical moments, the game does go a bit buggy with the horses, so that's a good thing to know, because you can be left stranded if you don't know that, and it's really quite annoying. You don't want to be left without a horse in this game. It's quite a long walk. So then in here we can also choose which of our horses. I've only got 3. Which of our horses we want there. So free run we've got Winnie's, and I think for racing we've got Winnie's. Story missions, I've got one of my second horses, Coco, in because it's one of the few times I'll use her. And then competitive we've also got Coco as well. Similar to thoroughbred racehorse, I don't know if it says somewhere, and we've also got Winston that's a Breton. One of the few Bretons I got, which is okay, not as fun as I thought they'd be. They're very popular online though. Horse access everyone, cargo access everyone, so people can put bounties and things on them. But I don't like it if people can lead my horse, because it means you can be sitting on your horse chilling, AFK, go and get a glass of water, go and get a drink, and people can come and start dragging you around on your horse. And it's a bit weird. I don't really like that. But a lot of players will actually make it so you can't even touch their horse, but I don't mind that feature. If people want to go and ride my horse, that's no big deal. I'm not gonna make a big deal over it. I guess we'll talk about the wheel here next. This wheel basically just shows you. So we've got our guns. So we've actually got dual wielding. You won't unlock dual wielding until you're about level 20. But even then, my tactic is never to really dual wield them unless it's a panic with a griefer and we're really close together. And even then, I'll choose my shotgun ideally. What I'll do is I'll do one after the other. The Cattleman here is my favourite. It's fully upgraded, extended barrel, rifled barrel, all the rest of it. But what I will do is I really like the reload on it, but if I'm being pushed, I'll just grab the second. It's far quicker than reloading. We've got 12 bullets, and the aiming single-handedly is far more accurate, and I've gotten quite used to just switching quickly to the second one. And then close combat, I've always got my double-barreled shotgun. That works really nicely for me if people are quite close range. With the normal shells, I have the normal bullets at the beginning of the game are still very effective, but I use express ammo for my Cattleman. I use high velocity ammo for my bolt gun, which at the very beginning of the game I suggest getting the bolt gun straight away. And then if you can afford it, get the medium scope as well. But to be honest, you don't really need it. I just like the bolt gun. It's one of my favourites in this game. Really good for hunting, almost essential for hunting, I would say, because with hunting for crypts, for example, at the beginning I hunted for the butcher and earn a lot of money doing that, but for hunting for crypts, for example, for the trader role, he wants 3-star items really, and to say keep a 3-star deer, you need to get a clean headshot or heart shot, and the bolt gun is one of the few guns in the game that will really do that for you. So really recommend, as soon as you can get one, get the bolt gun. It works really well. If you're really going against player versus player in this game, get the Lancaster repeater. I'm not sure what rank you unlock this at. I don't know if you have to. It might even be available from the beginning if you can afford it, but this is, in my opinion, my favourite gun in the game, but I actually don't use it. I don't use it because it's got 14 rounds and it almost takes away any need for me to have a pistol. It's that good. For me at least. So what I do is I'll keep it for certain missions when I know we're going to be up against a lot of NPCs. I might be on horseback, or even sometimes player versus player if we're in like open range sort of gunfights, not in a town or anything. I'll use the repeater so I can really just cack off the rounds. 4 shots should generally be enough to put a player down, and you can get them off pretty quickly. Unlike the bolt gun, where sometimes 3 shots can be quite slow, and even then you might not kill someone. It really depends on your accuracy. I'm not really going to go into too much depth about the accuracy and things like that. I will do a bit later on, but basically I'll say I have the express rounds on that as well, and I just said use the normal shotgun shells. Now, one way of getting to all your guns is you have to be near your horse. You can scroll through all your guns, and I've got my rolling block here as well, which I use as a sniper, but I wouldn't worry about that at starting the game. But this is something to figure out though. So you'll have like a lamp, you'll have your knife, and I've got a machete there. And there's also a little swirly mark next to my revolver there. I didn't say about this before. The swirly mark, I believe, is basically your default weapon. I don't know if it always works. I think if you pull the trigger, she actually gets out. We've actually lost our gun. She actually gets out the last gun you had on you, I believe, if you pull the trigger. So our last gun, say I had was the bolt gun. If I pull the trigger, she'll get out. But if I press LB for me, she'll quickly get out the pistol. Now, I'm pretty sure that is a quick option that is changed on... Yeah, so we can switch revolvers by doing that. But what if I had it as... Yeah, so basically this will assign it as your quick select. So whichever you see that swirly marks now on the shotgun in the top left corner on it. Basically, I've got on my LB, when I quickly press LB and not hold it down, she'll quickly choose what gun you've got that on. So whichever gun you really prefer, if you just always want to have your repeater out, make sure to press X, I think it is. Yeah, you press X to quick assign, and she'll always get that out. Whenever you have this swirly mark will always be the quick assign. I always keep it on my revolver, so I can literally always just quick tap L, and she'll always get the revolver out, and that works really nice for me. I don't always use that, but it's just quick it's just good if you need to do a quick draw, because sometimes I find myself pulling the trigger, and say if I had the bolt gun out last and I pull the trigger, oh, she actually got the revolver out. Oh, I'll be damned. Maybe it's situational, but sometimes she seems to get the bolt gun out instead of the revolver, and I don't kind of like that. So I think definitely pulling L, she'll definitely get the gun out first, and that's something to worry about there. There's little things in the game like that that are kind of how all the characters work that doesn't really tell you. You just got to kind of figure it out. So I guess the next thing is with this wheel is we're going to a bit of the tonics. Onto the left here, we've got a quick sort of selection of like our food. That basically goes into the cores of the game. And then we'll actually talk about this. There's the rings, I suppose. You've got cores and rings there, and that's basically what I'm trying to refer to. We've got a heart there, we've got a thunderbolt, we've got a dead eye, like, so we've got an eye mark. But then if you go up here, we've also got like these things that do the rings, so that started flashing the ring gold and things. So I'll break these down. Because I use tonics and things a lot at the beginning of the game. They're very good for player versus player, but I didn't actually quite understand them. So I guess the easiest one is here, is we've got basically top left here is health, middle is stamina, and right's deadeye. And depending what you use, these will basically just restore your ring of health. That ring of health is your health. Next thing I want to talk about is your character's like health and stamina and deadeye cores. So if we look here, we've got a heart, we've got a lightning bolt, and we've got a deadeye, all with a circle around them. The circle and the actual core is separate. I believe the actual heart itself, the core of the thunderbolt, and the deadeye itself are more to do with your character's well-being, and you restore those by using either food or smoking for like deadeye, or even drinking for deadeye. But food will generally restore your health and your stamina. So like there right now, where we're a bit like sort of faded at the top there, what I would do for my character is that I would go in here and I would have an apple or like a carrot or something like that, and that would generally be enough to put your character back to full stamina at the top there. Another way of doing it is resting by the fireplace here, and also, for example, booze in the game will restore your deadeye as well. So the deadeye there, I could restore a bit of that. One way of also doing it is you can have mints. I think mints in this game also, yeah, there you go, mint will also restore the deadeye. So you don't have to smoke if you don't want to make your character smoke. You can, I use the mints, which you can get in the horse stables. And actually for the horse, I think they restore stamina for the horse as well. So the ring around those cores, that's more important than the actual core itself, in my opinion. The cores do help you, so if you can get a fortified core, it will, I guess, make your character more less vulnerable to being drained, I guess, round overall on your ring. The ring on the health there is basically your overall health. As soon as you lose that ring, you're dead, I think, pretty much. I think you can maybe survive on the core a bit if it's full, but not for long. Whereas the stamina core is kind of similar as well. So if we start sprinting around, even though I've got iron lung on and it will help with the sprinting, I can start jumping and it will start wrecking my stamina a bit. And we'll see there, the stamina bar around the ring is really starting to drain the more I'm having to use it. I think, for example, the big way of doing it is if we dive when we're shooting in a fight, it will use a lot of stamina. Yeah, there we go, use a very lot of stamina. That's a good dodge move, that. I don't actually use that, and the same with the ducking move on the horse. It's performed very similarly. I don't use that much either. But there we go. So you can see that basically the ring up drain there, and that's basically how much stamina you have. And it goes for the same story with your horse. If I quickly come over here, you'll see that the horse... Oh, hang on. Why can't we see... Do I have to get on you? Okay, there we go. So we see that the horse has got a similar thunderbolt, and it's also got a similar heart. It works in the exact same way as your character does. And we can see my character's stamina course slowly getting back up to them, now full again. So we're full stamina, quick and everything. This goes to the same with Deadeye. Your Deadeye ring is your Deadeye meter. You can have Eagle Eye, which you use, if you just press activate Deadeye without aiming, you get Eagle Eye. And this helps you see for birds, like for collectibles in the game. It will see like dead bodies if they've got loot on them. It will also show you loot that you can go and pick up in the game as well. So interactable items, I suppose, like loose guns and things that are on the floor. But if you have your gun out, it's Deadeye. Now, I briefly mentioned earlier I use Paint It Black, which makes it so that when I aim at someone, I can just paint a target on them and then pull the trigger, and if I've painted 6 targets, she'll shoot all 6 people, like a sort of VAT system out of Fallout. But anyway, if we hold it here, holding it actually uses Deadeye, and shooting it also uses Deadeye. But there's abilities in the game that help you restore this feature to the point you could almost have unlimited Deadeye. I believe I've currently got a card on. We can quickly see our cards here in the top right when we press this wheel as well in the top right there, and you can quickly change them as well by pressing Y. So if you wanted to change them in the middle of a fight, this is a great way of doing it. And what I personally change out in this setup at the moment, at least I'm happy with, because I've been griefed before and it's made me change it to this, and so far so good. I'll change it to Peak Condition. I'll change Live for the Fight, but otherwise Live for the Fight gives me Deadeye slowly over time, and that's working very nicely even now. So you can see that's ticking back up as well. So I do like that, keeps me on tonics that are down. But when you're at the beginning of the game, your rings are not even going to be anywhere near that big. They're going to be very small. They're going to be very easy to kill. You're going to be not a big target. But you're still a very capable fighter. And one of the ways I did very well at the game is using tonics. Now, health tonics here, basically, if I take that 1 health tonic there, it kind of does what it says. It will fortify your health tonic, or fortify your health ring. And what that will mean is that basically you should be able to take 2 or 3 shots before this tonic wears off and you're back to normal again. Now, as for a headshot, it might mean you'll be able to take a headshot, but don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. You might still be susceptible to a headshot, but I believe it makes you almost a bit invincible for a brief moment at least. And this goes the same. You've got quite a few different types of these, and if you scroll all the way through, it actually comes to Potent Miracle Tonic, and I had a lot of these at the beginning of the game, and it will do all of them. And there's the same for Miracle Tonic, and you've got levels next to it. That's a level 2, this is a level 1, kind of self-explanatory. You'll have to play around with your own rights. There's Special Miracle Tonic as well, it says a level 2 again. And if you go up to the top here, we've got like Cocaine Gum, which mainly does the same thing, but just for stamina. And again, if we keep scrolling through, it'll actually go back to the Miracle Tonics again. The Miracle Tonics are on all 3 for some reason. I assume it's almost like a panic thing. If you're panicking on one of them, you can just basically get that, and you're good to go. Because this is generally a lot quicker than standing there in the middle of a gunfight and opening your satchel. You can almost run around and use this wheel while you're fighting. There's also a quick selection here to use your bandana and other items your character's wearing, but I'm not going to worry about that. So I've kind of briefly covered most of this, really. I say you can quick select items here. If the items you've got and they're not here, come and check your horse. You can then scroll through and choose other guns. You can change them around to what you wish. What else are we talking about? I guess do it to satchel next. The satchel, if you're holding right on the D-pad, will open this satchel up. The beginning here it gets a bit confusing, all this, really. It kind of takes a little while to get used to, because it's not organised, and you can't organise it, so it doesn't help. But basically, the beginning here will just show you what you've recently interacted with, and then the next one is your provisions, which is food. For example, apple is not on the quick wheel in my gun wheel, around that way, when I press LB. So to have apples, I've got to come in here and press A. They are for the horse, because I think they're generally horse feed, but I use them for my character because they just restore a bit of Deadeye, and for some reason it doesn't make her overweight, go figure. So I use that as well. If I just need a health core, I'll use a bread roll. This is a tactic I've started using recently. If I just need Deadeye and I'm really low and I'm in the middle of nowhere, I'll use these open rum bottles, or I use the full gin bottles and things like that. But on the whole, I'll go to the saloons if I can between missions, and I'll get a bottle of beer and I'll restore my character's Deadeye that way. Or even at the minute, what I'm doing, if they're all slowly faded, like all of them need replenishing, I'll have some cooked venison. Now, the cooked venison, you can basically use minty, you can use oregano and thyme, you can season these, and you can cook this in your camp. Now, what you'll be able to find is you'll be able to hold 10 of each, and you'll have to cook one at a time. It takes a little bit slow, but it's good to do this when you're having a break, and you can just sort of keep the controller by and just press X and A just to cook them. But basically, you can hold 10 of each, and that's a good way you can hold a lot of meat at once. And they'll slowly do different effects. Like I think minty will help with your health, oregano will help with like sort of I think your stamina, and thyme will help with your Deadeye depending. So all does a little bit of better than each other. It's just a little bit of a gimmick really. But something, if you want to fortify yourself, the same thing but with the big game will actually fortify that core for you. But as I said earlier, I don't actually use the big game anymore because I found my character puts too much weight on. But as well as though, I've also got I've got the Iron Lung perk on now, and that seems to also help in keep my character's weight down for some reason. Whereas before it was almost like I had to make her eat nothing. It was a bit weird. And yeah, basically this is just another way of getting to your tonics in a good way of probably looking at it at first so you can just see what you've got. And then you go into things we've picked, and we've got collectibles and other things, and I'm not going to go into any more detail about what this is. We've got letters in here. Sometimes we've got letters and missions and things in here from people to check out. That's a good way of reading that. It's a bit of sort of stuff in what you've unlocked. And I think that's really about it. I'll quickly say the saddle I've got here on Winnie, I don't think you can unlock it until about rank 40 anyway. But this is the best saddle in the game. I think it's the Nako Dockless saddle, if I've said it right. It's always a bit of a, I guess, what's the controversial way of saying that name. You don't want to sort of upset anything or anything. So, but basically, this is the best saddle in the game. Gives your horse the most stamina. You know, even the starter horse with this saddle can go very far. And the irony here, I've actually got a lot of money from yesterday's mission with some friends. I'm actually probably going to go and buy another saddle for this same saddle, but I'm going to go and buy one for Coco because this actually was my first Coco's saddle. I might well leave this one back to Coco, and I might go and buy Winnie's here a new saddle, but it'll be probably the same one, if I'm honest, because I've been really happy with this saddle. But it's very expensive, about $700, and then to rank that up, it's probably another like $300, $400 to get it to be what it is now. So the saddles are a big deal in this game, but they're worth it. If you do what I do and you ride around a lot on the map on your horse, they're very much worth it. I've only just started fast traveling. And even then, that's because I'm with posses. If it's on my own, I generally really enjoy the riding in this game because, I mean, I think the views in it say it all. I really get an ASMR experience from this. We've got the birds, the scenery, the depth of it is amazing. The human interaction on this is awesome as well. I've seen some absolutely hilarious things going on in this game. Players in the community are just so funny. Some people are arseholes, but hey, it's the Wild West. What do you expect? You know, there does seem to be a lot of the people that are in this a lot older, and it all seems to be a bit of, I guess, like come from a bit more grassroots, I suppose, or people at least know about cowboy films or cowboy action shooting. And the other nice thing is, I guess, it's also got a lot of different styles. So it's not just almost the American Western here. I've seen a lot of like Scandinavians and Europeans really take their own twist on their own cultural history in this game, and it's really nice to see that. So yeah, I don't know. I think we've kind of covered it really. I've said about which roles to get. I've said about basically things that help me. Little tips and tricks. As I said, I play with controller using Gyro Aim. If you want to see more of that, you have to go and click on some other videos on my channel, and then check out my story or my general playthrough I've got as episodes. So if you're new to this, you know, I stream on Twitch, and I also have episodes that I try and release often of my playthrough on this game, because I find this is more like a movie than anything I've ever played before. So, no, if you enjoyed the video, thank you very much for watching. Give a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more. Bye.